One.
Man, Ahab to the real one, man. Yosef the real. Yosef the real got it popping off, man. Yosef the real got it popping off, man. Yeah, sorry, man. I've been watching a lot of the sweet science, man. I enjoy watching the sweet science, man. But yeah, man, Yosef the real, man. He got it popping off, man. Shout out to the king, man. Yosef the real. You already know, man. If you've been surfing the wave, you already know Yosef the real, man. You already know, man. He got his dragon by him at all time, man. He is Dragon Quan. This is our first ever dragon sponsor on the wall, man. You know what I mean? And, he's on the Ether Squad, man. So he's fully engaged, man. He just got his frequency of learning package. I appreciate the patience while we're updating the playlist. And it's all happening, man. The bro is popping off his YouTube channel. Please support the bro, Yosef the Real. Fully auto, you know what I'm saying? 360-degree perspective. The bro's humble and true. And just a true tribesman, man. True Aki love to the entire The Real family. And this is dope, man. Congratulations on popping off your channel. And I think it's a dope lesson, man. Here's a few other ones he already put out, and he got a lot more coming, man. Yosef the Real got it popping. You got the link below. Just click on it. Anointing versus baptism, man. Hey, man, let's go ahead and belly fly with Yosef the Real. Let go, pop it off.
And they get ready to pop off.
Pop off there. Let go.
Let's pop off. We got anointing. Alright. Straight up Webster's Dictionary. Alright. Anointing. Smearing with oil or pouring. Alright. On oil or other oleaginous substance. Consecrating. Alright. So it's consecrating. Consecrating is making it sacred. Alright. Making it sacred culturally wise. Got to lose this mentality of saying we're going to consecrate things for religious, because religious is not pertaining to us. Religious is something that has no affiliation with us. We are natural. Love to the Ahab to the brother natural by law. You know what I'm saying? Because we are natural by law. And we stick to the mitzvahs. You understand? The commandments. Okay, so anointing, smearing with oil, pouring on oil or other oleaginous substance, consecrating. All right, so making it sacred. All right, now that I know of, we've been doing that. We've been doing that since day one. Okay, Abraham was what? Anointed. Kings were anointed. Okay, Orion. Okay, Phineas. All right, Eleazar, anointed. So we anointed priests. We've anointed kings. Okay, we've anointed the function, the prester. Okay, we anoint these titles, these bringer of waters. Okay, so let's go on and dig and let's see what I'm talking about, so I can give y'all a perspective on how serious anointing is to us. Alright, so history of anointing, right? Let's just check this out and see what this pops up out of. Anointing with oil is one of the oldest humane rituals. Alright, kings, prophets, and priests were anointed as a consecration, okay, to their sacred task. Alright, in the scriptures, Orion. His sons are anointed, all right, at the initiation of the Levitical priesthood. Talking kind of priest, like I stated, all right. Both Saul and David are anointed to their kingships, all right. Let's check. So, we anointing, all right. So, pop off. Anointing is the ritual act of pouring aromatic oil, okay, over a person's head or entire body by extension. The term is also applied to related acts of sprinkling, okay, dosing or smearing a person or object with any perfume oil, milk, butter, or other fat. This pertaining to oil. Scented oils are used as perfumes, and sharing them is an act of hospitality. Their use to introduce a divine influence or presence is recorded from the earliest times. All right? Anointing was thus used as a form of medicine. Okay. Thought to rid persons and things of dangerous spirits and demons, which were believed to cause disease. Okay, so I wonder at what time frame that started. Okay. Their use to introduce a divine influence or presence is recorded from the earliest times. Anointing was thus used as a form of medicine. Okay. Thought to rid persons of things and dangerous spirits. Alright. Impressing usage. Anointing is typically used for ceremonial blessings. Ceremonial blessings. Such as the coronation of European monarchs. Okay, so basically what they're telling you is now, okay, present usage. All right, the hijack is doing what? Ceremonial blessings. All right, who is? These cats. All right, are doing what we used to do. Okay, they're doing it. This continues in earlier Hebrew practice, most famously observed in the anointings of Aaron, all right, as a high com priest, and both Saul and David, all right, by the prophet Samuel. The concept is important too. The figures of the, here we go, Dow Jones hijack, you understand me? And you know the hijack ain't never late. Figures to the Messiah, all right, and the Christ, all right, the anointed one. Okay, so the Messiah, the anointed one, all right, who appear permanently in Jewish and Christian theology, okay, eschatology, anointing, particularly the anointing of the sick, all right. Okay, so maybe the anointing of the sick corresponds with anointing was thus used as a form of medicine, all right. May also be known as a unication. The anointing of the dying as part of last rites in the Catholic Church is sometimes specified as extreme unication. All right, well, all this right here is hijack. All right.
Then we dodging hijacks at all costs around here, man. Drop Nation, come out to play, come out to play. Yosef the real, man. This ain't no play. He's over here coming out with body blows and uppercuts, man. And he does it every Sunday, 7 o'clock Pacific time. Live, man. TDR, man. Getting the ether, man. You know what I mean? And I mean, the bro's done great interviews. His music is off the Richter. We're always featuring the art man of Yosef, the real producer, musician, man. I mean, the bro's amazing, amazing father. You know what I'm saying? You know, I just appreciate the bro, man. He's an amazing brother, you know. So, hey, dig on it. You know what I'm saying? The bro has a pure function, man. He's gonna bring it to that water. It's interesting when they say anointing of the sick too, because it also brings you back to them living waters, you know, fountain of youth. That was the real baptism, right? Before this Christianized situation, is that you actually got life. Your life was renewed, man. Whether you're talking the dragon, you know, representation with the water, which I don't think there's no separation between really. When we talk fountain of youth, you're still talking dragon. That could just be a dragon pool as far as we're concerned. It could be a dragon as far as we know. You know what I mean? Important to the figures of the Mashiach, right? We just talking David, right? We're just talking to these, you know, prophets, you know what I mean? Samuel, anointing and all that. So, you know, again, Abraham, you know what I'm saying? These are priest kings. Now, this Christus, did he get, you know, anointed with oil and all that? You know what I mean? Maybe I missed it, you know what I'm saying? But he's getting baptized, right? He's getting baptized, right? Now, getting baptized didn't give him new life. He already got new life. He just popped up. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but, you know, he's baptized. Now he's baptized by John the Baptist, right? Prester John is baptizing him in the water. He's giving him the water. Prester John the Baptist. Phantoms, duplications all day. And this bro right here is fully dedicated to revealing those hijack phantoms and duplications all throughout the timeline. I mean, full on wave surfer, man. I appreciate the bro. Dig on it, man. Dig on it, man. Sign of Syphilis. Yeah, man. You know, we talked a little bit about Saint Christopher, right? The dog-headed man. How the fox plays the role of the serpent. Now, I want to get more into, you know, really what this syphilis really is, man. I mean, what is syphilis, man? Go subscribe, man. Hey, to Yosef the Real, because he's just getting cozy. He's just getting cozy, man. He's just getting cozy. He's a real one. Let's go. The real. Yeah, man. I just wanna really get into this syphilis business, man, because it seems to be sparking poetry. Yeah, man, syphilis, believe it or not, man, syphilis is sparking poetry. And remember how they broke this down about how Columbus died, right? Remember how they broke this down right here? The illness died May 20th, 1506. They said from what? They said gout. At first they said gout, right? At first he had some situation with gout, right? And then we said, what's gout? And they're talking about, you know, this attack happened when he was 41. And after that, he struggled with fevers, prolonged gout attacks, and bleeding from the eyes. We'll back it up. His condition was called gout at that time. Okay. But what is it really? What would we call it today? What do these modern doctors call it? They suspect that it was rather Reiter's syndrome. All right, what's that? A reactive arthritis. Keep this in mind, arthritis. Caused by bacterial intestinal infections or sexually transmitted diseases. Ain't we just talking syphilis? Last time that I checked, syphilis is a sexually transmitted disease, right? You got gonorrhea, syphilis, chlamydia, all these things, right? So, boy, oh boy. I mean, I had to keep going. I wasn't going to, but it's, just digging on a couple of, they got poetry about syphilis, and then it got into a character named Syphilis and somebody called the shepherd Syphilis. So before it's just some disease, they called somebody the shepherd Syphilis. And then now we can compare it in the timelines back to Columbus, who they say is the reason why syphilis spread to Europe. Now we can either say they backwards pimping again, and they really brought that over here. Because remember, they came over here to a pristine environment. But perhaps it's something that popped off related to, some creatures that were of this Canaanite lineage that was already here from the Atlantis times, right? You got Anubis. We got dog-headed people already here. I mean, we can't even front, right? We already got the dog-headed people. We already got Syphilis already here. Syphilis is already here. So what happened that made this epidemic break out after Columbus brought it there? Was it some type of bestiality, man? Love to the sister. I'm going to get on some of these comments. Y'all leave great comments, man, on that part one. Did it have something to do with bestiality, man? Were they having sex with these dog-headed people, right? And then now spread syphilis into their humankind? I mean, what happened in Europe, man? We're just talking sexually transmitted disease. So let's make sure I'm reading this right. Christopher Columbus died, all right, 55 years of age due to heart failure. His condition was called gout, but it was really arthritis caused by bacterial intestinal infections, so he had an STD, right? They called it gout, but he had syphilis. Now, is syphilis something that is plaguing these Syphilis? And can it spread sexually? If you have sex with a Syphilis, will you now be spreading syphilis into humankind? Uh-oh. So either Columbo is St. Christopher is dog-headed and already has Syphilis because the Most High is already plaguing these creatures with this version, whatever they call it. They're calling it syphilis, but whatever it is, it's a plague on them. It's a plague on them. Now you mix in with them, right? You procreate with them. You lay down with the bestiality, right? It's warned about in the scripture, right? You do this, now you're transmitting illnesses that were plaguing them, the abomination, right? So Columbus died of syphilis. Was he a Syphilis, or did he get it through other means? Now we're asking the right question. Now we're asking the right questions. We're just talking syphilis. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna have some fun. Talking syphilis has never been so fun, man. Especially when it's poetic, you know what I'm saying? Where's my poetry? Click all the feature links below, because we're about to go in. Oh boy, we about to talk Perry Reese map. You know what I mean? Hey, all praise the Most High. I never know really what is gonna be the next drop up. I got lists and all kind of drop. You know what I mean? I got drop on drop on drop. All praise the Creator. We got the water, but I just never know really what's next until we stumble on another piece, another piece of the puzzle of the investigation, man. All right, man. We're just talking syphilis. Oh, okay, I think see where I put my poem at. Bang, bang, bang. Oh man, we got Kapango. We got Kapango drop. This link right here is cold work. We're gonna have a good time, a good a good fancy time digging on this link right here. I'm looking for this poem about syphilis, man. It's gonna blow your mind. And oh man, this goes way deeper than we thought, man. Hey, just fall back, enjoy the ride. Appreciate y'all for traveling airdrop, air ether. It's about to go down, but we about to go up. You know what I mean? All the way up. Oh man. Okay. I'm just getting queued up. We're just getting queued up. Okay. Let's do it like this. Pull up this link. This is the NYAM Center for History.org. Yeah. Okay. You thought this was play, man? Think I'm doing all this digging because it's play? Syphilis, man. Sign of syphilis, right? It was very important, people. This is very important. You think syphilis today is like just an STD, get the shot, get whatever antibiotic. Nah, man. It goes deeper than that, man. Syphilis is the key to unlocking the keys to what these treaties is all about, what these jackals are all about, all throughout the scripture, how your land being, inherited or becoming a den of jackals is literally saying that these dog-headed people are going to take over your spot. Let's go. Now, this has a different name, right, in French, but this is the English translation. Syphilis, or the French disease. This is what it would look like. All right. Going back to the 1530s. Syphilis seems like an unlikely topic for a poem, yet it is the subject of an important and popular work. Syphilis, or the French disease, was first published in 1530. At that time, syphilis was new to Europe and spreading fast. To the Italians, it was the French disease. To the French, it was the Italian disease, with many other, because they were all blaming each other for the bestiality, man, for humping on dogs, right? Or for their own nature. And many other countries blaming one for the other, bringing the infection to their citizens, written in Latin by the multifaceted Italian physician and poet Fracastorius. The poem was translated into many languages, reflecting the great desire to understand this disease. Our collection holds multiple editions, including original pictured above, several English versions. This post features two English translations. One is pictured below, and the other has the excerpts. Let's go. So this is all about syphilis. Within the purple womb of night, a slave, the strangest plague, returned to sear the world. infecting Europe's breast. The scourge was hurled from Libyan cities to the Black Seas wave. And love to the fam that dropped in the comments, man. I read the comments. I appreciate y'all. You know what I mean? That this is Libya, right? Right? It was all called Libya at some point. Libya is specifically called the area around what Chicago, you know what I mean? So from Libyan cities to the Black Seas wave, when warring France would march on Italy, it took her name. I consecrated my rhymes to this unbidden guest of 20 climes, although unwelcome and eternally. O muse, reveal to me what seed has grown this evil that for long remain unknown, till Spanish sailors made west their goal. So did they just find this Syphilis out west? Did they start, procreating with these beasts out west? Or are they just trying to flip the script? Why are they blaming the West, huh? Are they trying to make us think that Europe was pure and we had this savage disease? But we know it's the other way around. Or did they just, start having sex with beasts that originated, from these Atlantean times right here in the Americas, the land of Canaan, right? If the Canaanite, has been here so long that it's been written about, you know what I'm saying, all throughout the Torah, you know what I mean? They could be stumbling on these dog heads over here. Who knows? Let's go. We know Anubis is over here, right? Till Spanish sailors made west their goal and plunged the seas to find another pole. Another pole. They're looking for another pole. North Pole, South Pole. Which one? Adding to this world a new universe. Adding to this world a new universe, man. They found a new universe, my naga. Did these men bring to us this latent curse? In every place beneath the clamorous sky, there burst spontaneous this frightful pest. Few people has it failed to scarify since commence introduced it from the west. Hiding its origin, this evil thing sprawls over Europe. Soon is repaired the ruin of the flesh, if lard be well applied, that's good and fresh, or dyer's colors of soothing power, if some poor soul impatient for the hour of sweet release should find too slow this curse and yearning for a quicker and more sure, then stronger remedies without delay shall kill this hydra another way. What's that hydra? That snake? All men concede that Mercury's the best. Come on, man. Saint Mercury over there. Now we got Mercury being shouted out over here. This is that Thothism. This is that Anubis, man. This is that Saint Christopher. All the same thing. When you dig on it, Egyptology has a lot to do with Christianity, right? Same God, same sun God, right? It's just a flip, another phantom duplication of the same thing. Bring you away from your career. Hijack City. All men concede that Mercury is the best of agents that will cure a tainted breast. To heat and cold sensitivities, Mercury absorbing the flares of this foul leprosy and all the body's flames by its sheer weight. Now check it out. An ancient king he had, Alcahuus, who had a shepherd lad called Syphilis. Can't make this shit up. Syphilis is a person. Syphilis is a person. Syphilis is a shepherd. On our, again, ancient king had we, they call him Alcahuus, who had a shepherd lad named Syphilis. On our prolific meads, 1,000 sheep. He's a shepherd. 1,000 kind the sheep had to weep. One day old Sirius with his mighty flame. Sirius is what? The dog-headed, right? The dog-headed dog star. Huh? Come on. We going deep. I told you. This syphilis business gets deep. It gets real serious. One day old Sirius with his mighty flame during the summer solstice to us he came, taking away the shade from all our trees, the freshness from the meadow, cool from breeze. His beast expiring, then did Syphilis turn to his horror of a brazen heaven, braving the sun so torrid, terror even, gazing upon his face and speaking thus, O son, how we endure, a slave to you. You are a tyrant to us in this hour. I mean, this is for us to decode. We know we're talking syphilis, serious, and some shepherd, right? Some shepherd, right? A shepherd named Syphilis, right? Now, who could this be? Why do you think they're connecting syphilis to Columbus so deeply? And why do you think Columbus seems to be connecting with St. Christopher the dog-headed? And why is the dog-headed a sign of Syphilis? And who's the shepherd Syphilis? Who's the shepherd sign of Syphilis? Who really found this land for these people, right? Who really gave them somewhere to go? This is their Christ. This is their shepherd. Syphilis is their shepherd, is their Christ, Christopher Columbus. That's why they venerate St. Christopher. It's all the same thing. Anubis, Horus, Amun-Ra, sun god, sun worship, Sunday, summer solstice, old Sirius, dog star. They're not talking about the sun you see right now. They're talking about the dog star, because he came with his mighty flame during the summer solstice. To us he came, taking away the shade from our trees. So he gave us light. Sirius, shepherd, Syphilis gave us light, taking away the shade from our trees, the freshness from the meadow, cool from breeze. His beast expiring, then did Syphilis turn to his horror of a brazen heaven, braving the sun so torrent terror even, gazing upon his face and speaking thus, O son, how we endure, a slave to you, you are a tyrant to us in this hour. The sun went pallid for his righteous wrath, and germinated poisons in our path. And he who wrought this outrage was the first to feel his body ache when sore accursed they were being cursed by the sun, and for his ulcers and their torturing no longer would be a tossing hard couch bring him sleep with joints apart and flesh erased. Thus was the shepherd flailed and thus debased, and after him his malady we call syphilis, tearing at our city's wall to bring with it such ruin and such wrack that e'en the king escaped not its attack. Not only did Columbus die of syphilis, all of the sinus syphilises died of syphilis, because they were fucking so many beasts, man. I mean, let's keep it real. They had so much sex with so many beasts, just like the Neanderthal situation. That's in their DNA, right? That's a part of them. Or you could just say that that's what they come from. That's what they come out of. It's all one thing. Another great comment. Someone said, "Didn't Damien? Wasn't he the seed of a jackal? The seed of a jackal." I mean, let's put it together, man. So that's syphilis, a poetical history of the French, disease, disease. The F's are S's. Let's keep going, man. Because again, Columbus died of a sexually transmitted disease, right? And remember this connection with arthritis. Arthritis, okay. This is the ncbi.a. Just get the link. You see, let's go. So here's the Columbian hypothesis. All right, is the most widely known and asserts that syphilis originated in North America. Well, we already said that Nubis is over here, Egypt is over here, the dog-headed people are over here. So we know we got the sinus Syphilis, right here, all right, and was brought to Europe by Columbus and his crew. Now, wasn't there that story of Saint Christopher and how he brought Christ over the water? And doesn't it seem like they're talking this shepherd, this shepherd talk, the shepherd syphilis. And is this syphilis the Christ that was brought over the water? I mean, he is a person. He is a person. Is sinus Syphilis the Christ that was brought over the water? I mean, get the drop from part one. Let's go. There's a couple ways to look at this. We're looking at it from a 360-degree perspective, man. Dragonfly. So they say the sinus Syphilis, right, originated in North America. All right, we know we're in Atlantis. Let's go. It was brought to Europe by Columbus and his crew following their journey to the New World in 1492. This hypothesis finds its strongest advocates in paleopathologists who claim that the absence of skeletal evidence of syphilis infection in continental Europe prior to Columbus's journey excludes Europe as the site of the origin of syphilis. Based on the analysis of the skeletal remains of the Homo erectus, for example, Rothschild, how does it play? Proposed that trypanematosis, we're going to get into this other term they have for syphilis, something like this right here, this trypanematosis originated in East Africa during the Pleistocene era in the form of yaws. So you start looking at this yaws. This is a connection with the syphilis. All right? According to the hypothesis, the other two T. palladium species evolved from yaws, treponeme. All right, I think that's the word right there. During its dissemination to Asia, where Begel, something like that, first appeared, and then to North America. All right, man. So they're blaming Columbus, right? Syphilis is, forever connected with Columbus, right? Now they said in 1988, Baker and Amalagales contested the presence of specific signs of syphilis infection in the New World and proposed a variant of Columbus' hypothesis, according to which venereal syphilis quickly evolved in the Old World from a non-venereal infection carried to Europe by Columbus's crew. So he's saying that, syphilis, or it was probably over there, right? We got the sinus Syphilis, but as far as this, what they're calling the old world, it's just Europe, and, that's what they're calling it. So we're just decoding it. So he's saying, but this venereal version of syphilis, right? Venereal syphilis, the way it's being spread like this, that wasn't over there in the Americas. Y'all niggas did something. Y'all niggas did something. Y'all niggas did something, man, for this to be spreading like this. We shouldn't be getting syphilis all over the place. But he's saying, this venereal syphilis quickly evolved over here, right, the old world, or they're saying over there, from the non-venereal infection carried to Europe by Columbus's crew. So they carried the non-venereal infection, which evolved into the venereal infection. The venereal syphilis quickly evolved right, in, let's say, Europe, from this non-venereal infection carried to Europe by Columbus's crew. So how did he carry a non-venereal infection? That's why when we start getting the syphilis, we start connecting it with this dog gene. We start getting, really focused, and we see that it's mainly connected to this beast. It's connected to this jackal. So how are we as humans getting it, right? That's what they're saying. Well, that's when you have to factor in the bestiality. How do you get a plague that's meant for a beast? Right? How do you get a disease that's carried by beast? It's a sexually transmitted disease, right? Columbus died of a sexually transmitted disease, man. Sinus syphilis, huh? Told y'all, man. Told y'all it gets deep. Told y'all it gets deep. Just fall back. Don't be in a rush to come to no conclusion. Just surf the wave, man. There ain't no time. Fall back. It's not a competition. Fall back. Supporters of the pre-Columbian hypothesis believe that syphilis existed in the Old World prior to 1493, but that it was misdiagnosed as leprosy and other illnesses. So they was already fucking beast and dogs, all right? And dog-headed people were over there too. They weren't that shocked to see dog-headed people. So they already had it, but they were just misdiagnosing it as leprosy and other diseases. So don't let them fool you like they're so pristine. Nah, man. Nah, man. We got right here possibly a zoonotic infection. And we're gonna get on that treponematosis. And they keep talking about Bejel, Bejel. So look that up. To then spin off syphilis around 3000 BC. All right, man. So they just talking out their ass, man. They really don't know. It's a mysterious situation, but this treponematosis keeps popping up. They keep talking about this Y'all's situation as well. And there's much more here I want to drop, man, but I'm going to let y'all have it, man. This is if you really want to get sciencey on this particular, this plague, right? And why were these dog-headed people plagued? Why did the Most High tell Joshua to wipe out the Canaanite? If the Most High is saying, there's an issue here with natural versus synthetic. There's a plague, there's an abomination at play. Yeah, I'm just scrolling, digging on it, man. Digging on it with y'all. Because it gets real poetic to us. It gets real poetic. This is back in the New World mythology and Italian epic poetry. Let's get it bigger, man. I told y'all, man. He's a shepherd, right? A thousand kind this shepherd had to keep. We're talking syphilis, right? His dad was Alkithaus. That's a whole nother investigation. This Alkithaus, he's the father of syphilis, who's a shepherd. And then we got out of that St. Christopher, dropped that St. Christopher carried Christ over the water, right? But he didn't know it. It was unknown. Right. But now they're saying he carried syphilis over the water, right? Let's get it from here, man. It's the New World mythology and Italian epic poetry. Epic poetry. Page 14 of the PDF. Or the book is 32, page 32 of the PDF. The New World theme is dealt with more explicitly by Girolamo Fracastoro in his Syphilis Sive Morvis Gallicus. Now, this is what we just were digging on, all right? So I had to get the translation, and that's what this is. All right, that's what we're digging on. So this is what we're getting. The shepherd syphilis, right? The shepherd syphilis. In this work dedicated to the official historian of the Venetian Republic, Pietro Bembo Fracastoro theorized the importance of dealing with the American theme, inviting his fellow poets to introduce the new geographical discoveries in their works. In the syphilis, the Native American shepherds. Time out, man. Come on, man. Oh, man. It's crazy. St. Christopher, right? Dog-headed man, right? His most famous legend tells that he carried a child who was unknown to him across the water, right? Across the river, before the child revealed himself as Christ, quote unquote. Therefore, he is the patron saint of travelers, right? And we said, what has this got to do with Saint Christopher Colombo? Because they also called him Saint Christopher Columbus. We talked about our time shifts, right? Anatoly Fomenko, phantoms and duplications, right? So what child did he carry with him across the water? Let's go back. We're just putting a theory together. Don't mind us. Don't mind us. What child did he carry across the water, right? Because we know that he was kidnapping the Native American, right? The indigenous natural Amaru Khan, right? Khan? So knowing that he was picking up black boys, right? From here, right? Taking them over there to Spain. Was one of them a Native American shepherd named Syphilis? I can't make this shit up. I cannot make this shit up. I cannot make this shit up, man. Y'all just gotta stop with drop going crazy type of shit. You think drop going crazy? You think I'm going crazy, man? I can't make this stuff up, man. Huh? I would never think to compare syphilis to the child Christ. But we are talking Syphilis. We are talking Anubis, Thoth, Trigomagestes, Saint Christopher, Saint Christ, right? I mean, Christopher is what? Christy Ball, or the Christ bearer? He's bearing Christ. Who? Syphilis or syphilis. Is syphilis their Christ, man? Not the disease, the person, right? The Native American shepherd, syphilis. I thought about another Native American shepherd. I thought about Estebanico, Stephen. Remember that St. Christopher doghead? Let's see. Yeah, this one right here. So this is Stephen. This is the Saint Stephen, and this is the Saint Christopher, right? You know, dodge the hijack when we talk Esteban. Why are they side by side? Did Saint Christopher carry Stephen or Syphilis? You know what I mean? Estebanico, Stephen. Did he carry him? Is this the child? Is this their Christ? Stephen? Estebanico? Zamora? I mean, they both will be called anointed, right? That's their Christ. Remember, Yosef the Real's dropping on anointed versus baptism, right? Let's go. Lego. We just surfing away. In the Syphilis, the Native American shepherd Syphilis is accused of having been the first to contract the eponymous disease as a punishment for his idolatry and impiety. And again, Esteban is Esteban the Moor. They say he's from Morocco, but we also know that this is Morocco. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's all about perspective. In other words, when we talk Moab, right? A lot of the Moor comes from the Moab, right? So the Moab, biblical Moab, is here, right? It's in America. So if Esteban is a true Moor from Moab, he's definitely from here originally. And even in the cartoon, he says, this place reminds me of home in South America. You know, I feel like this might be home or something. He said it real slick. And so we know that that's where a lot of them get their start, right? In the old Amexem, right? Northwest Africa, Amexem, right? Old world. So he would also be a North American shepherd, kind of like a Columbus, who's now shepherding these hijacks into these lands, which is why he got murked, why he got killed in New Mexico, right? In the 1500s. But they don't want to talk about Esteban, because that blows another lid off of this, secrecy, you know what I mean? And the creators pushing the water right over and through this stuff. So we don't care about their secrets. We don't care about nobody's mystery schools. We care about Hawa. And we rock with Hawa. And we're in the flow of Hawa. And in Hawa, through Hawa, and with Hawa, we see clearly 360 degrees. In the Syphilis, the Native American shepherd Syphilis is accused of being the first to contract this disease as a punishment or a plague. So they blame it on this shepherd who was the first to have the disease as a plague for his idolatry. What did Estebanico get killed for in Hawiku, New Mexico? His idols, man. And his lies, right? So, you know what I mean? He's the child of the sun, right? In the cartoon, he's a child of the sun, right? He's the Christ. Is Stephen Christ? Is Esteban Christ? Because they keep calling him the child of the sun. Just like the Amun Ra. So you got the Thothisms. You got the Mercuries all over the place. Now check it. Syphilis' island is the biblical Ophir. Hey, can y'all say it with me right quick? Can y'all just scream it out for me? 1, 2, 3. Hyborean. We got to go back to the Hybor. This map has played for years. This map has played. And we thought it was such play. And we're starting to put the picture together. We're just talking about the Native American Stephen. And guess what? Or excuse me, Syphilis. Syphilis. Or Stephen the Syphilis. Whose land is Ophir. which they also call Haiti. So either way, it's going to be over here. But just remember the Hyborian War map is nothing but, don't worry about it. It's just a reality. It's just a reality simulation. Okay? Don't worry about it. You got the Amazon, you got Peru, you got Timbuktu, Kush, all right, Punt, Zimbabwe, all over South America. Oh yeah, Iranistan, Persia is connected to South America. Yeah, man. China, we already know. We about to get it. We about to get it. We about to get the Zipangu, Kipangu. But what do you see right here over Shim, next to Argos, right? Ophir, Ophir. You got the Ophir Meadowlands, right? You got the Eastern Ophir. And all this is right here in North America. Ophir. Oh yeah. We're just talking Ophir, man. Look, man, I'm trying to get this bigger. No, it's real small. I'm trying to get it bigger for you. This says Kapangu. Got my mouse gets it easier. Yeah. Play. Yeah, man. Might have to get this other thing so I can get this bigger, man. What I do? Did something. But you can kind of see it, man. It says land unknown. Right here it says this is a map of America. Right here it says the Chinese upon this, the Chinese sail upon this ocean. Right here it says this is the Great Khan of China. Land unknown. Greenland, right? Right here it says Florida, Barbados. And tucked in here it says Japan, the Isle of Kapangu of Japan, which they look like they were just referring to Haiti. Are they just talking Haiti? Right? And then you got Antarctica here. Look at all this land. You don't see no ice, man. You see mountains. You see things, man. You see stuff. What's really popping, man? What's reality, man? What's reality, man? All right. So you got this, yeah, man. Fall back. I'm gonna get it. I'm just gonna have to blow it up. I don't have my mouse on me, so I'm gonna go get that mouse, man. So y'all can see. So y'all can see what's popping right here. Yeah, man. So pretty much, you got Japan right here. This is America. Japan's here. Call it Haiti. You got China right here, like we've been saying. Right here. You know what I mean? Right here. This is a map in the 1500s, man. Florida, Japan, Kapangu. All right. We're gonna get it. Right now we're just talking Ophir. I mean, all this truth, right? All this reality, right? In our face bone. You be like, damn, was, first we was just, digging on it, man. But they were like, man, is this for real, for real? Because when all this comes out, it's such a body bag that you are in China, that you are in Cathay, which only means a pure land, that you're in a pure land. So don't let them say that you got disease and syphilis they getting from you. Nah, man, they over here doing extra out things to these beasts to be able to pass on something that's non-venereal and create it as a venereal situation, forming an outbreak among their people. They're forming venereal outbreaks, and this is also called Ophir, right? Let's go. Because Syphilis' island is the biblical Ophir. So we're just talking what? Let's read it. As suggested by Francesco della Corte and Heinz Hoffman, it can be considered the equivalent of Haiti, body bag for the illusion. So they're saying Haiti is Ophir. And we also got the Ophir, right here. So again, these are titles. It's not just one thing. The contact that Columbus and his crew had with Native Americans during the process of colonization brought syphilis to the old world. All right, look. Stephen, St. Christopher. St. Christopher, most famous legend. This is what he's known for, man, is carrying a child across a river. Then the child revealed himself as the Mashiach, right, or a Christ. So he's known as the patron saint, the father saint of travelers. Columbus is also stealing children. Columbus and his crew had with the contact that Columbus and his crew had with indigenous Nagas, Native Americans, during this invasion, brought this shepherd to the old world. For now, Dodge just take syphilis out the equation. All right, take sinus syphilis, put it to the side, the title. He took somebody who's later being called the Christ, who's only a sinus syphilis. He brought him a sinus syphilis back to Europe, and they're blaming this sinus syphilis that he got from America, right? They're blaming him for the spread of syphilis. When in reality, it was already in his crew because they was doing so much humping on beast. And they too could also be sinus syphilis. Let's not rule that out. Remember, Columbus died of this sinus syphilis, this punishment for his idolatry, right? Because these were idol worshipers, right? They worship their idols. This is their Anubis, right? So the contact that St. Christopher had with that child that he brought over to the old world is what he's famous for. The contact that Columbus, St. Christopher, had with this child called syphilis that he didn't know, right? The unknown, right? The process brought syphilis back over there. So he carried a child. He carried syphilis. He carried a shepherd across the water. phantoms, duplications. He carried a child across the water, right? Can't make this shit up, man. He's venerated, man. Christ is venerated, man. It's just in code of what you're actually worshiping. That's why you can't make a bridge to it. That's why it's a pool sandwich. It's a pool sandwich when you dig on the New Test. Because you're talking God and you're talking God or DOG, Dog Star Sirius, Zeus, Anubis, Saint Christopher. For all you know, when you're following the writings of Jesus, that's just Columbus as far as you know. Saint Christopher, man. Venerated by several Christian denominations as a martyr. He was martyred like Christ. Saint Christopher, dog-headed, right? Most famous legend tells that he carried a child who was unknown, right? The shepherd Syphilis was unknown to them, they say. They're blaming him for the spread of Syphilis across a river or a ocean. And then it's going to say he's also connected with these storms. So it was a stormy ocean. All right. It wasn't no smooth ride across a river before the child revealed himself as the Christ. Nah. He revealed himself as the shepherd. Well, what's a shepherd? A shepherd is anointed. What's a Christ? The anointed. The shepherd is, shepherding their flock, right? Leading their flock. What's the anointed do? Lead their flock. It's the same thing. He's the shepherd, accused of having been the first to contract the disease as a punishment for idolatry, right? Native Americans during the process of colonization brought syphilis to the old world because of its contact with the indigenous what? When you go back in his logs, he writes about, tribes of dog-headed people along the way, right? Did he bring one back? Making the Americans the culprit for the spread of the plague? Nah, the culprit is this diseased culture having sex with animals. The culprit is these dog-headed, Syphilis abominations, Canaanites. That's the culprit. As noted by Isabel Panton, this poem is interesting from the mythological point of view because Franz Cotoro used mythology to explain medical and scientific phenomena. Listen up, such as the spread of syphilis in Europe, and used New World myths such as that of Atlantis, Egypt, Anubis, Syphilis, phalluses, Atlantis, to give an explanation of contemporary events. Although the New World myths we are interested in do not appear in the poem, I include the syphilis in my primary corpus because of the use of the latter poets of the Franz Cotoro's poem. Then you got Canadian pygmies connected to Syphilis. Okay. Man, as you can see, we're gonna have some fun in this in this document here, man. In this document here, man, we're gonna enjoy it, man. Let's go ahead a little bit. Oh man, what? Hold up, man. Kambar to be the legitimate king of America? Hesperes considered Kambar to be the legitimate king of America. King of America? When do you hear them talking about the king of America? Like we're just talking about the king of the Indians, right? Or some hijacked version of it. All right, then we're going to talk about the Amazons, the whole tribe of sisters over there, just laying down this hijack. Peace to the sisters, man. Peace to my sisters, man. The warriors, man. Protectors. Amazon. They will help us to show the difficulty in the Italian poets in distancing themselves from historical sources, confer to the Amazons, protectors of the Caribbean tribes, the warrior women, man. The sisters are didactic characters more than epic ones. Okay, all right. All right, let's go. Let's go to 22. Let's go to 22. All right, so let's get it, man. I mean, I know this has gotten more interesting than any of us thought. When we talk syphilis, we never connected it with a shepherd before, a North American shepherd brought over, from America to Europe by Columbus, right? Back to a Saint Christopher who's famous for carrying a child across the river, you know what I mean? And and now you got Columbus who's famous for this, the spread of syphilis, but none of them is giving us the drop that this is a shepherd, that they're hiding Saint Christopher, right? That they're hiding the shepherd, that they're hiding syphilis. They're hiding Stephen or Christ or Estebanico. I mean, all these things seem to be connected with this shepherd, man, who got martyred. Remember, Esteban also got killed, right? So he was also considered a martyr. Oh man, whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. All right, the Italians of Arte married the queen of the Amazon. I'm just belly flopping. The myth of the El Dorado was part of the story told to the Christians by the cacique, the chief, right? Give Fury, and Columbus revealed the blunder of the Fountain of Youth based in Puerto Rico. Revealed the blunder of the Fountain of Youth based in Puerto Rico. So who was basing the Fountain of Youth in Puerto Rico? As I've shown in my MPhil thesis, the Mondo Nuovo is a serious and precise. It is historical, geographical components, and it is parodic through its mythological references. The years in which Stigliani wrote his poem at the same in which the so-called poemi eretoscomici spread, such as Cervantes de Don Quito, Don Qui Conqueto, you know what I mean? All this, El Dorado, City of Gold drop. All this City of Gold drop. Let's pick it up over here, man. Yeah, I'm just digging. Okay. I mean, belly flopping right here, man. They're talking about the Amazons. An etiological explanation of the Spanish conquest of the New World is given in Ascanio Grandi's Tancredi. I mean, this is documentation. I mean, that go right in with the flow, cause I guess we're ready for. I guess we're ready for this. You know what I'm saying? Cause I ain't never heard a lot of these documents before, and how much have we been surfing? So, letting you know that there's other layers that is being opened for us to dig on and observe. Now, in this poem dedicated to the Duke of Savoy, Carlo Emanuele, the Tassian hero Tancredi narrates the adventures he experienced after the conquest of Jerusalem to the Byzantine Emperor Alexios. Conquest is still about the Hebrews, right? Let's go. After crossing the Pillars of Hercules, Tancredi tells how he sets free a young black girl. Listen up. Tancredi tells how he sets free a young black girl who was taken prisoner by a sea monster, a dragon. The girl, called America, is described as a strana donzella doloriso trista, all this quizza Perdrilla, Ethiopia. Negra. Guess we're just talking about a black girl, right? A black girl. So America's named after a black girl. So what do the people look like? What do the copper color races found here look like? What's the Khan dynasty look like? What are the Hebrews looking like? America was born with black skin, right? Then they try to say it was because of some curse. The evil Sir Pacific Ocean made her parents drink thanks to the baptism. Yosef the real. I can't make this up. He's talking anointed versus baptism. America was able to recover her original white appearance. Come on, man. Come on, man. You're going to have to get the drop and dodge these hijacks at all costs. Because this is their iconoclasm from black skin to white, right? From black to white. Oh, y'all were cursed with this black skin, but now we'll have a happy ending to the story. What did the story really look like? Because I don't think that's the original. Can you dig it? But you need to know that America's named after this black girl, according to that Tancredi, you know what I'm saying, situation. There's a lot of dropping here, man. They go deep on the Amazons, the Patagonian giants. The Patagonian giants. All right, so we got the giants, the dog heads. They got giant dog-headed people. This link is another one that we're going to have to really take our time with. That they believe to be the real terrestrial paradise. Proposed that the Italians were more interested in the East Indies. They believe that to be the real terrestrial paradise rather than the Americas. Okay. Well, what did they find in the East Indies? Which India? And why is this one called? Why is this India called? India Superior. So you say East India got the drop, not India Superior? That's just hard to fathom. Man. Yeah, man, we're going to dig on this. We're going to get back in. I'm just introducing y'all to a couple of these new docs, man, that have just been flowing in my stream, man. Flowing in my stream as I'm digging on Syphilis, man. Sign of Syphilis. Digging on sign of Syphilis got me this far, man. Yeah, man. All right. I could do this all day with this drop, man. Especially when they, connected with poetry and, that type of thing. Because, that a lot of times is coming with a lot of coded messages. And it's really great to be able to decipher what's happening in the poetic form. Because a lot of times I got more drop than, anything that's supposed to be written in the academic. This poetry got a lot of drop. When you start digging on poetry of these time periods, it really does capture a lot of the real picture. Let's go, man. Let's go. All right. So we got some interesting theories popping now. We got this Syphilis. We got this shepherd. Yeah, man. Let's go back to the shepherd, Stephen, man. I want to stay right there. What was that? Page 15. Let's go back to page 15. Let's make sure we had that up. Because, other than that, we think we're going crazy. All right. When we talk syphilis, we're talking a person. So we know we're not crazy. In the syphilis, the Native American shepherd syphilis is accused of having the first contact with this disease. All right, so this sign of syphilis, what is it? Who is this child? And is this child the same child referred to as Christ? Revealed himself as Christ. We can at least ask the right questions, man. Hold up, man. Hyboria. All right, Hyboria. All right. Let's just, let's fall out into some great streams, man. Let's keep the water flowing as we get ready for our dismount. We're just talking syphilis, man. He crossed the water. He crossed the water, man. Yeah, man, let's get back in that. Nah, man, we got a Dodge the hijack. We're going to get back in that 432, man, so we can, really dig on what's really crossing the waters, man. What's really crossing the water. So let's go. What we talking about here, man? Case closed. Columbus introduced syphilis to Europe. Syphilis was the first global disease. Understanding where it came from and how it spread may help us combat it. They don't know to this day. At least they want to act like they don't. So that's what we got to say. Either they don't know or they just front. They're acting like they don't know, but they really know. It has everything to do with this syphilis. It has everything to do with... I don't know. Here we go. It has everything to do with this shepherd, man. I can't believe this myself, man, but syphilis is a shepherd. Syphilis is a shepherd, man. Did you ever think you'd say that? You ever think them words would come out of your mouth? Syphilis is a shepherd. The next question is syphilis the same shepherd that Saint Christopher carried over the water that identified himself as Christ? It said that he carried the Christ child over the water, Saint Christopher. We come back in the timelines. We understand that they made phantoms and duplications out the timeline. Then we start asking the right questions. Is this the shepherd syphilis? Anything to do with Esteban and Esteban? These are very important so-called Europeans, martyrs. What could be more important than showing you where the promised land is, man? Because it's all happening, man. Here we go. That's what I wanted. Huh? Florida, man. Here is the great strait, that which leads from us to Cathay. Isle full of salvage men. Here is the king of Spain, his islands, much gold, and there is Caribs that eat men. Some, but here came Master Christopher Columbus. Here is the great Attilia, which is Plato's Atlantis. This is Plato's Atlantis. The Azores are the tops of the mountaintops of Atlantis. I mean, I just stumbled on this. I don't even know. I just looked up Kapangu, America. I found this map. It says this is the map of America and the way to China as men believed it to be, which an old pilot showed to King Henry the 7th in the year 1500. So some old pilot. Now, what planes did they have? What planes did they have, man, in 1500? I mean, that's not the White brothers, right? The Wright brothers. Cities of the Cognac. Look, man. Look what it say right here. This is the great Khan of China. This is Cathay. This is North America. This is America, Cathay. So all along, all praise our Creator, we've been right. That we're in the old world, that China's here. And what do you have here? Japan, which we called before Kapangu. Or Zipangu with a Z. The great Owl of Kapangu, which some call Japan. Alright, so where's Haiti? Over here? Over here, I think this might be here or here. I don't know which one's Haiti over here. One of these are Cuban. Alright. I mean, it takes simple recon to start putting this stuff together. And look at Antarctica again. Look at Antarctica. You see any ice? Over here it says here's much ice. All right, you got a land full of demons. Okay. This a fire drake. You got a dragon? Oh, come on, man. You got a dragon guarding what? Some vortex, right? It's connected to this China, connected to what? Oh, this is America. Why is there a dragon in America in 1500? Why is there a dragon in America? You think it's play? You think this is play? You think somebody did this to trick your Naga behind in 2019? They said, man, I'm gonna fuck them up. Watch this. You think so? This was given to King Henry VII in the year 1500. You got mermaids. Here's something, be elephants. So the elephants was already popping. Here is Ptolemy's something Elandria. Can't even see what that is. India. Here's Ptolemy's India. His India. Full of spices, right? So you got Solomon and Sheba and all these spices she's bringing, man. Right? The spice roads. The Silk Road. Marco Polo all over this place. Travels of Sir John Mandeville. All this perspective lining up. This is Japan. You dig? This is China. Khan of China. Cathay. Cathay is the same as Qatar. We've been digging on the Kara Qatar. And that's why the Presta series is so important, because it's connecting real life, man. How can you hate on real life? Real investigation, real information. You can't get nothing out of it? Then you might be the source of the static if you can't get nothing out of the wave. And if you're getting everything out of it, all praise Hawa. We give all credit to our Creator only. Hawa, Allah, Hawa. All right, man, we could study this map for days and days. Okay. City of Kinsei. So we know this is Japan. We know this is China. We know we got Atlantis. All right. We know Antarctica ain't got no ice. Over here it says here much ice. They don't say here much ice over here. It says savages. You know, all kind of things are saying. This is another world. This is like another gateway to another world, man. And you keep going, more and more worlds. More and more worlds. You got fire-breathing dragons right here in North America, the land unknown, right? So knowing that this is China, right? That this is India superior, this is Cathay, this is Japan, this is Egypt. We know that they made duplications. This one I can only find a little small one. I don't know the origin of it, but it seems to also has corroborating drop, letting you know that this is coming from different sources, man. You see where they got Kapangu, Japan, right? It's not over here, right? Japan's not over there. Japan's right here. The same thing. Kapangu. What's this? Cuba? What's this in North America? Cathay. China. China, Japan. China, Japan. This is Atlantis. Cathay. Kana. China. Just put a K instead of a K instead of a C. Ken, Khan, Ken. The land of the Khan. India superior. We got maps that have Prester John over North America, right? All right. Same thing, Kapangu. And we're going to get, remember that Atlantic monthly journal? You know what I mean? We're going to touch on that again. So we know we've been right on it, man. All praise Hawaii, man. We've been right on it because we've been talking about this and we've seen how now it's connected specifically with this sinus of Syphilis, man. With this syphilis, with this shepherd. I can't believe it. I still can't believe it. We're just talking about a shepherd, man. Y'all, we're just talking about the shepherd, man. North American shepherd, syphilis. Syphilis is island, right? Is Ophir. We talking Cuba, we talking Haiti. They say we talking Haiti. They say we talking Haiti. And we're still talking Atlantis. Which means we must be talking Anubis. Which means we must be talking sinus Syphilis. Is Anubis the shepherd? Did St. Christopher carry Anubis over the water? Is Anubis Christ? Let's go. So they say case closed. 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue, huh? When he returned from the cross, across the seas, right? Who did he carry? Who did he carry? Did he bring with him a new disease? New skeletal evidence suggests Columbus and his crew not only introduced the old world to the new world, but brought back syphilis as well. Researchers say syphilis is caused by Treponema pallidum bacteria and is usually curable nowadays with antibiotics. Untreated, it can damage the heart, brain, eyes, bones. It can be fatal. How would they know? How would they know what happens when it's untreated? How would they know? In 1932, the Public Health Service, working with the Tuskegee Institute, began a study to record the natural history of syphilis in hopes of justifying treatment programs for blacks. It was called the Tuskegee Study of Untreated Syphilis in the Negro Male. The study initially involved 600 black men, 399 with syphilis, 209 who did not have the disease. The study was conducted without the benefit of the patient's informed consent. They didn't know that they were being treated like a lab test dummy for syphilis. Untreated. They wanted to see. Researchers told the men they were being treated for bad blood. They said that you Nagas got bad blood. Bad blood. A local term used to describe several ailments, including syphilis, anemia, and fatigue. Oh, you're tired? You got bad blood. Oh, you're cold? You got bad blood. Oh, you're syphilis. In truth, they did not receive the proper treatment needed to cure their illness. In exchange for taking part in the study, the men received free medical exams, free meals, burial insurance. Although originally projected to last 6 months, the study actually went on for 40 years. 40 years of not knowing that these brothers, our tribesmen, were getting injected with syphilis and leaving it untreated. The panel found that the men had agreed freely to be examined and treated. However, there was no evidence that researchers had informed them of the study or its real purpose. In fact, the men had been misled and had not been given all the facts required to provide informed consent. The men were never given adequate treatment for their disease. Even when penicillin became the drug of choice for syphilis in 1947, researchers did not offer it to the subjects. The advisory panel found nothing to show that the subjects were ever given the choice of quitting the study, even when this new highly effective treatment became widely used. Ethnically unjustified. Nah, man. That's called genocide. That's called targeting, massacre. That's called murder. How do they know? Untreated, it can damage the heart, brain, eyes. How do you know what happens when it's untreated? How do they know what happens when it's untreated? Because they tested it out on you without the benefit of your informed consent. On the Negro male, why is the autism way up 340% increase in Negro male children? Why is it an attack on the black male, right? Because you have to poison the carrier of the seed. These Negro males are carrying seeds. Obviously, we give it up to our sisters because, they got to carry it and make a house, a home for that seed, right? And we need you. We need that. Understand that they're trying to get to us before that happens. Before it gets to you, they're trying to eliminate the seed in us. So we got to work together. How do they know what happens when it's untreated? My naga? How do they know what happens when it's untreated? And they keep calling it treponema. And so, I started digging on that a little bit as well. A little bit. So it's saying it's been around about 500 years, right? Ever since they made contact, right? Oh, they're poisoning us. These savages are poisoning us. The parasite is claiming somebody's poisoning them. It's only existing because of this parasite. Because it was only a plague to dog-headed Syphilis. Why is it in the human stream at all? Who is mating with these things? Who is having sex with beasts? Who is a beast? Trying to turn us into the beast, turn us into the savage. Your history tells otherwise. We know where we at, man. I mean, you can't fuck with somebody that knows where they at. That's why the orientation is so important. The flat drop is so important. We know where we at. We ain't spinning. Our plane continues. It goes through these gateways. This ain't no barriers, man. We know where we at. We are the Khan. We are the Khan. The great Khan. Right here in America. Right here in America, man. We going, this gonna be a whole nother drop. This Perry Reese, we're gonna get back into it because we're just talking maps of the 1500s, right? So this is a 1500, right? Year 1500, King Henry VII. We're talking Kapangu or Cuba or Japan. We're talking the zoomorphic representations. Zoomorphic, right? So we're just talking the creatures all over this map. They got dragons. They got all kind of amazing renditions on this map. We're just talking the Paris map, and again, this is a very important map because it also shows Antarctica with no ice. So what just happened that caused a freeze over, right? What do you think just happened that caused a freeze over? Some type of spell, huh? Yeah, man. Carta de la Atlantique. They know they're just talking Atlantis. So just call this a map of Atlantis. And is Atlantis much more recent than we think? They keep trying to push it back, right? Push back the history. Let's pick it up on page number, let's go to page 8 of the PDF. There we go. 6, 7. Bang! Sign of Syphilis. Yeah, on this map, man. They're just breaking down elements of the map, and you see some dancing dog head men, right? Some creatures, with their heads coming out their shoulders. Dog-headed creatures. Dog-headed creatures. Let's get it bigger. Dig on it, man. Just dig on it, man. You still think this is play? How many sources we got to show you? Just like the flood, just like all this stuff. And if it keeps popping up all over the place, it might be some similitude of truth behind the splicing and dicing. And the stuff on Egypt's walls are not just netters, right? Showing some type of mythological or metaphorical, nah, man. This is Atlantis, right? Why do you think the creator destroyed it? With permission of the pharaoh, they can move around and make some Atlantis. Why do you think the creator destroyed it? You want to rise back up into this reality? Because that's what they're trying to do behind the scenes. Recreate their Atlantis hijack. Come on, man. We know hijack's allowed. What are we talking about? We're talking about Syphilis. Yeah, man, Syphilis. And other humanoid creatures were said to inhabit a remote island near the edge of the known world. May have provided the inspiration for Paris's work. Other illustrated 13th century Arabic books on animals to the Ibn Bakhtishu tradition could have also been sources for the Paris map. So like I said, we're going to take our time, and it's a couple of these documents I'm just showing you, what I'm looking into, man, and, surfing right now. All praise for what? It's going to lead perfectly back into the Prester John investigation. Please believe it. Because this is all a priest king investigation. We search for our creator and David, Hosea 3 and 5. Man. All right. And it's going to go into some other interesting creatures. Let's just stick it right here on the sign of Syphilis, right? Let's go. So now we got more confirmation in the Paris map. Another interesting digging on this British Medical Journal. British Medical Journal. And, we're just making another, cooperation with the syphilis, right? What they call syphilis. Oh, man, make sure our water's still flowing, man. I kind of like that. Please don't try to hijack this again. Let me put it on mute just in case. Yeah. That hijack's never lay, man. You know what I'm saying? We over here being hijack slayers in real time. They tried, though. They tried. We just talking that water. Just relax, man. Meditate, activate. Activate. Alkaline. shepherd, man. Syphilis is a shepherd, man. That breaks it wide open, man. That breaks it wide open, man. Syphilis is a shepherd. Columbus introduced a shepherd to Europe. Columbus introduced a shepherd to Europe. We got to decode it, man. Let's decode it, man. He's a shepherd, man. He's a Native American shepherd. A Native American shepherd. St. Christopher, most famous. He carried a child who was unknown to him across the river before the child revealed himself as the Christ, the shepherd. The shepherd. Case closed, huh? Columbus carried the shepherd to Europe. They came to find the Black Christ, huh? Is this shepherd Esteban? Remember they said he was captured? Remember the Esteban story? Said he was captured, right? Stephen the Moor and more. Oh, man, they're making it too easy now, man. Esteban the Moor. What's your story again, man? Stephen? Come on, Stephen. Black man. Morocco, little Stephen, right? Keep this in mind when they talk. Remember that image. I'm just surfing the wave, man. 17th century icon of Saint Stephen. Little Stephen. Oh boy. Estebanico, Little Stephen, Moroccan explorer. All right, look, man. This is Stephen. All right, this is, an iconoclast picture of Stephen. Of course, we could just be talking Estebanico, right? Zamora, the Moor, whose story matches up in the sense that his story is that he was captured and then basically started working for the hijack. Formed alliances, confederacies. They called him the child of the sun. He said he's the Christ. He controlled the sun. They asked for him to bring the sun out in Europe. Please, whenever Esteban commands the sun, bring us the sun. Child of the sun, they called him. They would definitely call him the Christ. Anointed. He controls the sun. So they're worshiping Stephen, child of the sun, like they're worshiping the dog-headed Syphilis shepherd. This is Stephen, Saint Stephen. He got his own story. Why are they together? Why are they rocking? Did Saint Christopher carry Stephen over the water? Did Columbus carry Esteban over the water at any time? The child Esteban? Look at the dates, man. Remember, 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue, right? Look at the dates, man. Can't make this shit up. He's born in 1500. What else is happening at 1500? King Henry's getting shown this map in 1500 of all the drop of where Cathay is in North America, the land unknown. Where Japan is, man. Kapangu. All the drop, right? (1492) Columbus sails the ocean blue. So 8 years later, does he carry Stephen as Saint Christopher did? Does Columbus, Christopher, carry Stephen over the water? Check out this story. It was a Moroccan explorer from Azamora. He became the first African explorer of North America. So he was a black man, but he wasn't the same as these black men. You know, there were different tribes of black men. I just got to talk to y'all, okay? I know, I just got to talk to y'all to break the spell. There are different tribes of black men. There are different tribes of black men. One was exploring the other at this time, making treaties with the hijack to take their shit, their gold, their vortexes, slay their dragon. More on more war. It's a fight to see who's the real great, whose power is real. Back to Aaron and Moshe creating a dragon out of their staff that ate up the Egyptians' dragons because they were always trying to compare themselves to the creator. They keep looking for the creator. They keep trying to be and fake the funk of the creator. They're trying to fake it. Duality. Phantoms. Duplications. Wakey, wakey, my naga. This little Stephen, Moroccan explorer. So you got the guide of travelers and this explorer, right? Saint Stephen and Saint Christopher. Saint Christopher is the what? Therefore, he's the patron saint of travelers, man. Travelers, right? Travelers, right? Explorers, right? Travelers, right? Explorers, right? Explorers, travelers, side by side. He's the patron saint of travelers, explorers. We're talking Esteban or Stephen. We're just surfing the wave. I mean, don't mind us. Have your own damn theory, man. But this is the most interesting shit I've ever heard connected to syphilis. I guarantee you that. You've never heard a better syphilis story than what you're getting on the drop, and you know it, man. Allow why. This is the dopest sinus syphilis story you're going to ever hear, man. Simmer down, man. Let me read you a bedtime story about a traveler and explorer, all right? We'll just call it the traveler and the explorer, man. I mean, you could just call it the shepherd, the Native American shepherd. St. Stephen and St. Christopher rock, because St. Christopher is the patron, the main traveler saint, right? And Stephen, we're connecting with Esteban. Let's go back to it. I mean, this could easily be a 15-part series. You see how I'm just skimming the surface here, but I just want to get to the point. I ain't trying to draw stuff out. I just want to get the drop. You know what I mean? Esteban, right? This explorer from Azamora, he became the first African explorer, right, of North America. When in reality, he could have just been found here and brought over there. See, that's what they're probably covering up. They're saying he's an African explorer because he's connected with Morocco, but they're not going to do the extra homework for you to know that you're in the real Morocco, right? According to them, which, you know, you're in the real Libya. Yeah, I mean, you're in the real Egypt. So shit, it is what it is. Everyone got their titles of their places based on their culture and their customs. Just don't deny us ours, because we have an inheritance and our power exists. Anybody want to, dare us to be wrong? I mean, the Most High, man, is climbing up, man. So, anybody can get it, man. All hijacks can get it. All hijacks can get it. Can you dig it? It's not about being nice. It's about being real. Be real with me, man. Be real with your brother, so your brother can be real with you. Esteban, little Stephen, was he brought over some waters? Was he kidnapped? Child brought across the water, unknown child, and Columbus is kidnapping unknown babies. One is this syphilis. They brought syphilis as a person, man. Sinus syphilis. What does Stephen have to do with sinus syphilis? He's been referred to as the first great black man in America. Man, I want to just slap the dog shit out. I want to slap the dog meat out of somebody. I guarantee you. The first great black man in America is this hijack, Azamore. Now he's trying to do what he got to do for him, right? I mean, we went in on this, man. They got little dolls, whatever they call it, little magic black dolls. Go back and get that whole Black Christ, situation, Ezekiel situation. You know what I mean? Come on, man. Mustafa Azamore, right? He was sold. Here's the story. He was sold to a Spanish nobleman in Spain about 1521. Oh, man. Body bag for the illusion. Back it up. Back it up, man. Back it up. Back it up. We're just on the surface here. We're not even digging deep. We're just wave surfing right now, man. Belly flapping. Saint Christopher, the dog-headed man, was legendary not just for his dog head, but for carrying a child unknown to him across a river. Then the child revealed that he is the shepherd, the anointed, the Christ. So he's the patron saint of travelers. A child unknown to him. Esteban was sold to a Spanish nobleman in Spain about 1521 and taken in 1527 on the Spanish Narvaez expedition to establish a colony in La Florida. La Florida. Hold up, I seen La Florida somewhere before. Here, Florida. Here is the great strait which leads from us to Cathay. So something about this strait leads directly here to Capango. You're talking Cuba, you're talking Haiti. Somewhere one of these, right? So we're just talking Florida, right? Which means we're just talking China, Japan. All right, let's go. So he's trying to establish a colony in Florida. We also know Florida is considered the whole America by some, right? So depending on perspective. Now look at this time, because remember, he wasn't just a child. He was sold to a Spanish nobleman in Spain in about 1521. So if he's born in 1500, he was 21 years old by then. So when we're watching that cartoon, City of Gold, you got to imagine him as a 21-year-old kid or, adult. All right. And then by 1527, he would be, 26? On the Spanish Narvaez expedition to this colony when it's up in Florida, which at the time was composed of present-day Florida and all unexplored lands to north and west, including North Mexico. All that was Florida. The expedition, led by newly appointed Adelantado, governor of Florida. All right, man, it goes on to his expedition, man, and we just start connecting this because we know that he ends up getting killed in New Mexico. The fact that Esteban was killed at this time is speculative, as the Indians who reported Esteban's death to the friar Marcos de Niza did not see him killed, but only assumed he had been killed. The mystery continued. Esteban was the first non-native to visit Pueblo lands, man. So even though he was a brother, he was, the first, brother of another, tribe to try to, come up in that promised land. We're talking Cathay, we're talking Pure Land. So something about these four corners, New Mexico, remember, all that is Judah. All that is Judah. All that is Judah. The seven cities of Cibola. Back to the seven cities of gold. Cibola, which is what? Kalalus, which means what? Promised land. And Esteban was killed in the Zuni city of Hawaku at the age of 39. Now, what child was carried? And that's when we started connecting to little Stephen. And here we are with little Stephen and St. Christopher. And we're saying, even though they didn't bring it out, did Columbus carry Stephen over any water? Right? Connecting back to, this Stephen that was sold to a Spanish nobleman. Is it a stretch? It's all happening. It's all happening. if how can all this be happening at the same time if it's not connected? Give me another Stephen that matches. You know what I'm saying? Who became a saint, right? This guy became a saint. They started worshiping this dude. You know what I'm saying? He was the Christ. He's the child of the Son. Remember that whole Christ, person hung on a cross situation. That whole emblem, that whole symbol did not exist before, the so-called, colonization. You know what I'm saying? It didn't exist before the Inquisition. It didn't exist before this hijack rolled up in the 15th century. It didn't exist. That emblem, that symbol didn't exist. It only is, this black Christ is only referring to you on your towel, man. Your crucifixion. A mark, a sign of what? An image of what? You are Israel. You are anointed. You are the anointed. Don't you see? You're searching for yourself. You're realizing this is so interesting because all I'm doing is searching for me. When I search for truth, I'm searching for me. Allow why? When you search for Prester John, you search for yourself. It's your priesthood, it's your flow. So what's this little Stephen got to do, right? So let's go, man. Let's get it for the dismount. Just surfing the wave. Yeah. We're gonna do a whole series on this Perry Reed situation, just like the voided manuscript. We gotta dig on that even further. Look, man. All right. Why they keep trying to disturb my flow? Are they trying to hijack us again? Oh, let me make sure I hit the mute button on this hijack because I already know it's coming. Man. You know what, man? We're gonna have to do it like this for the dismount, man. We got to do it like this for the dismount, man. We're gonna have to get back in the strings, man. What we doing, man? What we doing? There we go. Yeah. We're gonna have to get back in the strings on the cello. All right, we got a few more docs, man, for the dismount, man, and I'm just surfing away with you as we, find out what's relevant. And it appears this is very, very relevant drop. You know what I'm saying? From a Naga perspective of what you're really up against and what's being, just like the jackals, you know what I mean? Yeah. We're going to relax with this 432 hertz, binaural sleep, you know what I mean? Relaxation, all that, man. All right. Where were we, man? I mean, let's just go into this, man. Let's talk etymology right quick. How we doing over here? The etymology of the term syphilis. All right. We're just talking etymology. Speaking of etymology, man. Y'all remember this cozy, and let me make sure I'm not tripping. You know, we use this a lot, right? Etymology online. Okay, cool. Woo! All right. Now that you back, yeah, talk to me about the etymology of syphilis. Okay, infectious venereal disease. Here's the poem that we read. Look at that, man. We already are reconning, man. Yeah, I mean, syphilis, Syphilis. So we read that poem, got some drop out of that. We read about him. I mean, we already been reconning, man. We are the recon. We did this on our own. Now we're looking up etymology, which tells the tale of the shepherd. Oh my goodness. All of our recon is right here when we just go to etymonline.com. And we did this manually, even though there was an automatic version. We did the manual slow version just to get the drop, to know that we are surfing the wave. Allahu Akbar. It was already here the whole time. We just did it, our own way. We actually went to the poem, right? We started with the poem, Syphilis or the French disease. And that's when we got the idea. We said, oh, well, so this king called Alketaos, right, who had a shepherd lad. So this shepherd is the son of this king. Now we got to dig on his pops, right? Shepherd lad called Syphilis. On our prolific meads, 1,000 sheep, 1,000 kine this shepherd had to keep. One day old Sirius, with his mighty flame during the summer solstice, to us came, taking away the shade from the trees, the freshness from the meadow, coolness from the breeze. Talking about the shepherd called Syphilis. Where was that? My etymology. We're just talking about, getting the drop, right? So yeah, I mean, it's all happening. So we got this shepherd, Syphilis, supposed to be the first sufferer from the disease. Fra Castoro first used the word as a generic term for the disease in his 1546 treatise De Contagione. Why he chooses the name is unknown. It may be intended as a Latinized Greek for pig lover. Really? Swine, back to the sus. Sus in Greek means swine. Sus is swine. Isus, you're just talking pig lover. Though there was also a Syphilis, a son of Neobald in Ovid. That might be a whole nother drop. Right now, we're just on the shepherd. And we already been getting the drop. Let's go to this one. Etymology of the term syphilis, well known. Term syphilis occurred in the third book. Back to the same cat, Fracastoro, didactic epic. All right, same poem. So we've been digging on it. I think we dug on this, man, like it's never been dug on before. With the origin of the word, which was to replace the great number of coinages that had come into being at the end of the 15th and the beginning of the 16th century, in consequence of their appearance at that time of the new disease is not yet quite clear. So they said all that to tell you they have no idea what the origin of the word is, and all we're saying is, come on, bro, sinus syphilis. Don't tell me you don't know that this is sinus syphilis, bro. Don't tell me I'm just a genius, man. All right. You're playing dumb when you say you don't know the origin. You're talking about the sign of Syphilis. You don't want to, relate to the dog genes, right? You don't want to relate to the dog. You hide the dog in St. Christopher. They hide the dog. You go in and Wikipedia St. Christopher, they give you this. Look at this guy. This is what they give you. They're hiding the dog. You get a little more specific, huh? You get a little more specific. Where's my dog head? You say St. Christopher dog head? Then guess what? You got that water. They lead you to the water. Yeah, man. Stephen, huh? Anubis, huh? Okay. All right. So you can go further, man. I'll leave these links, you know what I mean? You can go to the WebMD, dig on it. How's it spread? Sexual activity, right? Columbus died of what? Columbus died of what? All right. Hey, come on now. Sexually transmitted diseases, right? All right. All right. This is a shepherd Syphilis who challenged the gods by introducing a divine cult on his king Alcetus in the island of Ophir. He challenged, they say he challenged the gods, right? By introducing a divine cult. It sounds like what Thoth was doing, right? I mean, when you read the Oaspi, it sounds like what Thoth was doing. By introducing a divine cult of his king Alcetus in the island of Ophir, right? That is the newly discovered Haiti, and was along with his king and his compatriots punished by the god with terrible diseases. So this doghead Syphilis was punished with this particular disease, and somehow they contracted it. Somehow these people in Europe contracted a sexually transmitted disease. I'm just talking Columbus. Writer's syndrome. Okay. This goes more into the, I guess, more official term, the treponema pallidum, a bacterium classified under Spirochaetes phylum, all right, or Spirocatalis. All right, this is this whole family dealing with this sinus of Syphilis. So all this will lead you to the deeper drop on sinus of Syphilis, medically, scientifically speaking. All right. This treponema pallidum and all these other terminologies. It was called the Napoleon disease as well. Or the French disease, the Polish disease, the German disease. All these, dog, you know what I'm saying, bestiality, whatever you want to call it. All of them were cursed, they said, by their gods. This disease, this punishment for this divine cult or this, crossing. The Christian disease, Spanish disease. Everyone blamed everybody. The Hindu blamed the Muslims, and in the end, everyone blamed the Europeans because someone had to kick it off this way. Syphilis, listen up. Mad at Apollo for parting the trees and consuming the springs that fed the shepherd's flock. So Syphilis was mad at Apollo, right? He vowed not to worship Apollo, but his king. Damn, man. Phantoms and duplications, man. Remember this, man? Hold up, man. Trying to see where they, So Christopher decided to serve him. But when he saw his new master avoid a wayside crossing, found out that the devil feared Christ, he left him and inquired from his people where to find Christ, right? So he's looking for Stephen, man. He's looking for Stephen. Hold up. We connecting and collecting a lot in real time, man. He's looking for Stephen. All right. He's looking for Stephen. Right. He finds Stephen, right? Esteban. He's the child of the sun. Columbus carries him over rough waters, right? Esteban goes and Moorish. He's looking for Stephen. Let me get that drop back. He's looking for Stephen. Listen to the story of St. Christopher. It's supposed to be happening 1,000 years earlier, right? But we know dodged a hijack timeline. 3 time shifts, 333 years, 1,053, 1,778. All right, they shifted your time, shifted the names, the geography, everything. So open up your mind, bone. Let's go. We're talking about Columbus, right? We're talking about Christopher, right? Reprobus, Canaanite, dog-headed, fearsome face. While serving the king of Canaan, he took it into his head to go and serve the greatest king there was. Now, hold up, what are we just reading about? Oh man, just close it. Hold on. Get that back. Run that back. This is the most interesting syphilis investigation I've ever been on. I'm just talking to Shepard. Now, what happened? So, according to this story, the issue with the disease, why syphilis and his people was cursed, why Syphilis was cursed, was because he didn't want to worship Apollo. He said, look, I know I'm part of the Dog Star, but you know I want to do something a little different. Apparently, all right. So, in fact, Castor's tale, Syphilis mad at Apollo for parching the trees, consuming the springs that fed the shepherd's flock, vowed not to worship Apollo, but his king. The shepherd, Syphilis, wanted to worship his king. Okay, Apollo gets offended and curses people with a hideous disease named syphilis after the shepherd's name. Named Syphilis after the shepherd's name. The affliction spread to the whole population, including King Al-Kithus. So they were plagued. Hold up, man. Hold up. So he doesn't want to worship. It's Apollo, right? Let's go back to another story we're digging on. Saint Christopher. I mean, one, we're talking syphilis, right? Now we got the Saint Christopher story. This Canaanite serving the king of Canaan. He said he took it into his head to go and serve the greatest king there was. So Syphilis wants to serve that king over there. This Christopher wants to serve this king. I mean, are we talking the same person? Is Stephen Columbus? I mean, damn. Is Esteban Christopher Columbus? You know what I'm saying? Is Saint Christopher, you know what I mean? The same as their Saint Stephen. Is that why they're side by side? You know what I mean? Because initially, you know, when I pulled this up a long time ago, I thought my first, you know what I'm saying, wave of inspiration was like, oh, this is the same person. This is just two different versions of the same person. You know, in a sense, they have the magic to not appear the way they are. You know, I never dug on them separately until recently. And like, oh, that's Steven. And then now it kind of took us back to like, is it the same person though? I mean, they even got the same bracelet on, huh? You know what I mean? And, you know, if we do that, then we got to look at Esteban and Columbus, both exploring, both get killed, you know, Syphilis. I mean, why did he really get killed? You know what I mean? Is it because he was an abomination? We're just talking about the Christ, right? Hold up, man. Let me go back here for a second before I do that. So he wanted to go serve the greatest king, just like Syphilis, right? He went to the king who was reputed to be the greatest, but one day he saw the king cross himself at the mention of the devil. On this, learning that the king feared the devil, he departed to look for the devil. He came across a band of marauders, one who declared himself to be the devil. So Christopher decided to serve him. So now let's think of this devil like Apollo, right? Let's think of this devil like Apollo, right? So he's now serving Apollo. Then he says, I don't want to serve Apollo anymore. I want to serve Christ or Stephen or Estebanico. Okay. I'm just surfing away. You know what I mean? Just flow with me or do your thing. All right. So Christopher decided to serve him, the devil, Apollo. But when he saw his new master avoid a wayside cross and found that the devil feared this Christ, Apollo was afraid of this Stephen, right? He left him and inquired from people where to find this Stephen, right? Where to find Christ. Syphilis, right? Syphilis. Let's go. He met a hermit who instructed him in the Christian faith. Who's this hermit, man? Christopher asked how he could serve Christ. When the hermit suggested fasting and prayer, Christopher replied that he was unable to perform that service. The hermit then suggested that because of his size and strength, Christopher could serve Christ by assisting people to cross a dangerous river. We're talking St. Christopher or we're talking Columbus, right? Crossing a dangerous river, an ocean, a sea, interchangeable. We're just digging on translations, right? Where they were perishing in the attempt. People were dying trying to cross this dangerous river, this Oceanus, right? This Atlantica. But the hermit promised that this service would be pleasing to Christ. And we're saying, who's the Stephen? What are we talking about when they talk Apollo? Remember it said in this document here, he challenged the gods by introducing a divine cult of his king Alkethus in the island of Ophir, which is Haiti, and was, along with his king and his compatriots, punished by the gods with a terrible disease. In the fact, Castoral's tells Syphilis mad at Apollo for parching the trees and consuming the springs that fed the shepherds' flocks, vowed not worship Apollo, vowed not to worship Apollo, but his king. Is it the same damn story? Or am I tripping? All right, St. Christopher, same thing. He didn't want to worship the devil no more. He wanted to worship this Christ. Then you got this Syphilis, you know what I'm saying, who wanted to worship his king. Apollo gets offended and curses people with a hideous disease named syphilis after the shepherd's name. The affliction spread to the whole population. I mean, what are we digging on, man? What are we digging on, man? So you get the drop, man. I mean, you know, I've gone too long, man. I told you, man, it's going to be the most interesting ride on syphilis. We're going to ride it on out. We're going to ride it on out, man. I just really enjoy, being able to dig on this stuff with y'all. Keep dropping your comments. I really do read them, and I appreciate all of them. Appreciate the time you take, man. Oh, man. Come on, man. Jack City. LA Times article digging on it, man. The Black Jacobins, we got to get back in that. It was talking about this, just when it talks about these vicious dogs, you know what I mean, and how they had these war dogs. That's another way, another perspective of these war dogs or these, I'll just read a piece of it. For example, there is a fabled story of the trained dogs brought by the French to set upon the slave armies, right? And the exhibitions put on the planters' cap, right? They demonstrate the dog's hunger for black flesh, man. Trained dogs have a hunger for black flesh, right? So are we just talking dog-headed Syphilis armies, right? The same thing, the same St. Christopher, all these hijacks, you know what I'm saying? They're warriors, right? So they're trained dogs, right? With a hunger for the naga flesh. Remember, they're eating you. They're eating the dragon. the slaying the dragon. We're just talking about the shepherd, but which one, right? So when you talk Christ, you got to say which one, right? Because they got their shepherd, they got their Syphilis, and that's the excellent new tune. If you want to speak Greek and talk Christ, then at least know you're talking anointed of a particular ancient love song, through a particular ancient love song. It has nothing to do with the new test, has nothing to do with no excellent new tune. It's the indigenous truth. It's the ancient love song. Your prophets, your leaders, your chiefs, your priests, kings, all that, your mamas, your queens, they're already here. And they brought you a poo sandwich, man. And they've orchestrated their own poo sandwich from top to bottom. You know what I'm saying? Sprinkling in, a little bit of your frequency. Because that shepherd over there, that shepherd, man, is the jackal. You remember, the fox plays the role of a serpent, and the jackal is the tempter, right? So their shepherd is the jackal. Their shepherd is the jackal, man. Yeah, I mean, so when we talk Esteban, we're talking the jackal. We're talking Stephen. All right, so Syphilis, Syphilis needed Stephen. He wanted to worship Stephen. He wanted to worship little Stephen, Esteban. I'm just saying, it was all happening to them. You know what I'm saying? They were living in real life prophecy as far as they were concerned. It became the first book ever published describing the people's wildlife, flora, fauna in North America, and the first to describe the American bison in the Relación Cabeza de Vaca, often referred to Esteban as the Black, and described him as the one who went in advance of the other three survivors, and he was the most able to communicate with the native Indians that they encountered. So he was their anointed. He was leading the charge. He was able to communicate with the Nagas, the niggas that they encountered, right? He was leading the charge. That's called, a priest king. You know what I'm saying? He was a priest king. He was chiefing it up. Identifies the Black who had been on a survival journey in a translation done by Sterling Professor Roland Adorn, Yale University, and researcher Charles Patrick Potts. It is translated to fourth. His name as the Benico. He is an Arabic-speaking Black man, a native of Azamor. Arabic-speaking. Now you bring in the Mohammedans, right? Now you bring in the more and more war. And we start to see clearly who sucked the dogs on you. Who let the dogs in this house? Who did the treaties with the dogs, man? Who did the treaties with the Sirius, right? With the dog star, man. How they trying to slay our dragons. How they trying to get the longitude and latitude of the 7 cities of Cibola, Shambhala, Kalelus, Promised Land. We're just getting the drop out of this, man. We're just getting the drop, man. We're getting the drop. I want y'all be patient, man, because it's just now coming together. A lot of this is just now getting started. We're starting to see clearly where we're at. Kapangu. We're starting to see clearly where we're, stationed at, and that they're looking for Cathay, China, right? They're looking for the Silk Road. They're looking for the reality. They're in the matrix looking for reality. Looking for reality, man. I'll leave this for you, man. You remember this drop, man. We got it time and time again throughout the years. When they're talking about the Grand Khan, yeah, man. The Catholic kings, right? Remember, Catholic comes from Cathay, which is only talking about a pure land. They're hijacking titles. To the Grand Khan, spelled C-A-N or K-H-A-N, however you want to con it up. You're just talking Khan, like Canada, Khan. Now, so hopeless and anachronism with the said Grand Khan. Khan, huh? he gathers from the natives. There you go. A Cuban monarch. Why is Cuba so important? Listen up. Was now at war, right? So there was a war popping off, more on more. Huh? The Khan's great ships. He understood this is out the Atlantic Monthly, Volume 104. Pull it up. The Khan's great ships, he understood, came to Cuba 10 days' journey from the Chinese mainland. And we say, how is Cuba 10 days' journey from the Chinese mainland? You would never understand it unless you saw the world appropriately and know that this is China, right? Look at it. All right, the Khan of China, Cathay. And where is this Cuba, or he's going to call Kapangu? Right here. And he's saying that this is 10 days' journey from the China mainland. So either you're talking about South America or North America, you can see that getting to China on the other side of the world, right, is not 10 days in the boat, right? Not what it took months for you to get here from Africa, right? It took months to get here from Africa. How you gonna get to China from Cuba in 10 days on a boat? So now we know we're talking the real Japan, Kapangu. Let's keep reading. We're just talking Kapangu. He understood, came to Cuba 10 days' journey from the Chinese mainland. The cotton of the West Indies would be sure a good market in these cities. His Majesty was perhaps the grand city in the grand city of Cathay. In the grand city of Cathay, Cathay, North America. His Majesty is in America. Uh-oh. We're just putting the documents together, Sephirin. Let's go. His Majesty was perhaps in the grand city of Cathay. It is certain, he writes, while still off the Cuban coast, Cuba, that I am in front of Zato and Gansay of Amur Harbor and Hangzhou. All right, we gotta, put those together. And again, in the Caniba, which was described to him as the mainland behind Hispaniola in our language, the north coast of South America. So we bring in Cathay in with the language of South America, all right, which we got on these maps of North America, which we've been digging on. We've been digging on that this is India Superior, and here is Cathay, 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 Cathay. We said this is China, and we stand absolutely firm, right? La China, China right here. Every time I look at this map, something else pops out. Something else is popping off, man. Something else is popping off, man. Y'all make sure, man. Y'all make sure you subscribe to the bro who's popping it off, man. Popping off steady. You know what I mean? Steady ether, man. My bro Yosef, the real. He is the real, man. You know what I mean? Certified real one right here, man. Anointing versus baptism. Trust me. Trust me. He gonna go in, man. We might get this for the belly. We might belly fly for the dismount, man. I'm just talking the Atlantic Monthly, man. Columbus believes he is at last located the name and kingdom of the Khan. Khan means priest, right? Grand Canyon, right? Grand Canyon, Arizona, Egypt. Uh-oh. Oh, man, it goes, yeah. I always say, man, we gotta get more. We gotta get more. The Apostle of China, Monte Corvino. Okay. So we got this Cuba, Cathay. Oh, let's get it from here. It says, a week before he lands at Guanahani, Columbus opinions that the pin zone suggestion to stir southwest is not made with respect to Kapango, 2 days after the discovery, he feels he must go on to try and find Capango. And when he reaches Cuba, he believes it from the signs the Indians make to be this very land. At the same time, he is equally anxious to reach the mainland of China. So he's looking for Japan. He reaches Cuba and realizes he's in Japan, and he knows he has to get to the mainland of China. Look at the map. Look at the map. All right. Kapangu. Right. He reaches Cuba, which is Japan, and he still wants to get to the mainland, which is what? China. Cathay. China, the mainland. Whether you're talking about South American mainland or North American mainland, you're talking China. You're talking Cathay. You're in it, and you're looking at it from maps from the 1500s, the same year Stephen is born, Esteban the Christ. Stephen the Christ. Go research it. Stephen the Christ. So what Christ did he carry, man? Man, Stephen the Christ, right? Come on, man, I need that. I need that. Yeah. You know, this is a good one, man. We're gonna get more into the medical treponema. You know. Hold up, man. You think this is play? For real, for real? The first Christian martyr, right? If he's the first Christian martyr, then he's the first Christ. You dig? I mean, you dig on it, man. Estebanico. Esteban Zamore. Look at this, born 5 AD, man, right around that Jesus time period, huh? Stephen, traditionally venerated as pro-martyr, the first martyr, Saint Stephen of Christianity, according to the apostles, Acts of the Apostles, a deacon in the first church at Jerusalem who aroused the enmity of members of various synagogues by his teachings. And over here we got this Syphilis, right, who's, pissing off the gods, right, because he wants to, look for this other messenger. Now you got this sinus of syphilis now connected with this, saying Christopher. And on. I feel like we're going in circles. We're going in circles. So we got this Stephen the Christ popping up, man. Saint Stephen. Oh, man, I just want Stephen the Christ. That's why y'all was hijacking. That's why y'all was hijacking me, man. Stephen Christ. Comparison between Jesus Christ and Stephen. We ain't the only ones. We ain't the only ones. Esteban Nico, Stephen, the Christ-like martyr, man. Yeah, man. Stephen the Christ, man. At the end of the day, we're just talking little Stephen. I mean, you know what I mean? We're just talking little Stephen. man. At the end of the day, we're just talking Stephen, the explorer, right? And we're talking about the patron saint of travelers, Stephen the Christ, or Estebanicos and more. And now he's on this mission to establish this colony. He wants to colonize La Florida, right? He wants to colonize China, right? Zepangu. He wants to colonize the unknown world, spread their pestilence. And now it's all going back to Colombo, to understanding this connection between this Stephen, this Esteban, and Christopher. And we're finding the hijack lacking in the timeline because it's the same thing. St. Christopher is Christopher Columbus. Stephen is their Christ. Stephen is their Hamashiach. These are the words in red you're reading. It's Hijack City. It's Syphilis. It's the shepherd, right? I mean, you dig on it, man. You got more than enough. You got more than enough, man. You got more than enough to dig on. Oh, man. And remember, you know what I'm saying, never forget what they did to our people in the name of testing this syphilis on us. They were interested in how it was affecting us. They were interested in how it affects the Naga. Remember that. It's a more and more war, man. When you talk Stephen, you know, as a more, it's a more and more war. When you're talking the dragon and creating the opposites and bringing the parasite, the Cadmus, man, slaying the dragon, it's a more and more war how they slayed the dragon. And for sure they rode up, you know what I'm saying, with the dog, with the jackal, with the serpent, right? For sure they rode up with the jackal, you know what I'm saying? I mean, for sure they came up and, you know, violated all treaties, all rules of engagement. I wish I can get this big. It says Columbus was wrong in his belief that he could sail westward to China and Japan. Was he? Was he wrong that he could sail westward into China and Japan? It seemed like we all got it twisted, man. It seemed like we all got it twisted. You know, I'm just making sure you got all this drop, man. You know what I mean? It's been like a 3-hour flow, man. If you surf the entire flow, man, hey, man, you deserve the Wave Surfer of the Year award, man. I appreciate all the real ones, man, just for the continual connection, for seeing clearly, man, you know what I mean, at every turn. You know what I mean? It don't matter, you know what I mean, if you fall off the surfboard, just become the water, man. Know that the ether's for you. You know what I mean? No matter how we slice and dice it, this ether, man, belongs to you. This ether right here, man. Look at this, man. This ether right here, Jack. Yeah, oh yeah. Here we go. This ether right here, man. Yeah, man. This ether's for you. You know, this is you putting this connection when we talk syphilis, the shepherd. This is you that's seeing clear. What shepherd? What Native American shepherd, right? What Native American shepherd was taken to Europe And did this Native American shepherd taken from, America to Europe, could it be Stephen? That St. Christopher said, ended up revealing himself as the Christ and came back, right? Came back, went right into Hawiku and got martyred. Stephen's a martyr, right? Esteban Eco's a martyr, right? Syphilis is a martyr, right? Syphilis, man, is a shepherd, man. All right. And, what I'm saying, it's connected all the way to your biblical story. So you better wakey and know that we're talking about, the Confederacy, Psalms 83. We're talking about the more and more war, man. And we're just seeing clearly that we're talking, dog heads, man. You're talking a dog-headed world, a dog-headed situation, a plague, something that we're just now, overstanding. You know what I mean? But always on these maps, we kept getting that same old story. And we kept saying, what is this that keeps popping up? What's on these walls of Kemet? What's on these maps? Oh, Syphilis. So it's more to do with the syphilis, right? It's more to do with the dancing of the Syphilis, especially when you recon that Columbus died. Columbus died because of a sexually transmitted disease. And what does it got to do with bestiality? Everything. Everything. All men concede that Mercury is the best. What's it got to do with the idols and the hijack? With the Atlantis? Everything. A shepherd lad called Syphilis. Is Syphilis, is Syphilis Stephen? Esteban. Is that the shepherd? Is that their shepherd? Is that their Christ, right? Is Stephen their Christ? Did Columbus carry their Christ, Stephen, or Syphilis to Europe? And oh boy. And what do they got to do with the dogs, the jackals, the tempters, the serpents? Oh, come on, man. That's the hijack, man. That's the hijack. Yeah, man. Make sure you print out these files as much as you can, because they do be coming up missing. But this is a good one here. It's just, we got a better one, and they dropped a lot better. Stay tuned, man, for all the drop. So much drop in this drop, though, man. Trying to tell you. Hold up. Yeah. Okay. 10 lost tribes. I'm just surfing the wave right quick, man, on the dismount. In this great document, man. Between the Hebrews and the oldest tribes of North and South America. I mean, come on, man. I did not further repeat what has been said by the different writers at different times with regard to the points of likeness, not only in appearance, but also in manners and customs between the Hebrews and the oldest tribes of the North and South Americas, man. Hey, man, the fox plays the role of the serpent, man. You know, get that. Hebrews and the so-called Indian. I mean, you know, it seems to be connections being made. You know, so you know, don't be afraid to make them yourself, man. When you see that, yo, I ain't the only one that's been digging on this. You go call me crazy. Call that Atlantis. The Australia of the ancient world called Atlantis, spread across the torrid zone. You don't think Atlantis plays? Yeah, man, I'm looking for that fox part right quick. All right. All right, man. Guess I'm running out of disk space. Yeah, man. Subscribe to Yosef the Real, man. You know, this investigation continues, man. It is unnecessary to go on repeating the fact that the historical monuments in South America and Mexico are exactly similar to those in Egypt, but in addition to this brick and stone proof of the common origin, we have flesh and blood proofs, man. And it goes on, man. We continuing up. We conning up, man. I'm out of here, man. You know what I mean? Like I told you, this is the most interesting investigation on sinus and Syphilis, man, that you know, I've ever been on, man. So y'all keep it going. Y'all keep surfing the wave. Stay up, suit up, choose up.